Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging into the newly announced 2025 school fees for Mpelembe Secondary School. We're going to break it all down using the official notice that's got everyone talking. Okay, so let's start right at the source. This here is the actual letter that parents received, dated October 8th, 2024. This is the document that kicked everything off, so let's unpack what it says. And right here, this is the key line, the big why behind the fee hike. The school's board says it's because of economic challenges. So that's the official reason they're giving for the increase, a phrase that a lot of parents are probably thinking about right now. So what does this actually mean for your wallet, right? If your kid's already at the school, what's it going to cost? Let's get into the nitty-gritty, starting with the returning day scholars at the main school. So here's the line-by-line breakdown. And you can see right away, the big one is tuition, right? Over 13,000 kwacha. That's the lion's share of the cost. The rest are these smaller fees, for the PTA, the bus, medical stuff, and so on. So you add all of that up, and what's the bottom line? For a returning day student, the total for the year comes to 13,702 kwacha. That's the number to remember. Okay, now let's switch gears and look at the borders. The list of fees looks pretty similar, but whoa. Check out those numbers. The tuition jumps way up to over 21,000 kwacha. And look at the medical fees. They're 10 times higher. That's a huge difference. And when you add all that up, the grand total for a returning boarder is 22,536 kwacha. I mean, that is a big jump from the day student fees we just looked at. All right, that covers the returning students. But what if you're a new parent looking to enroll your child in 2025? Well, the fee structure is kind of similar, but there's a catch. A couple of big one-time fees you only have to pay in that first year. Yeah, before we even get to the full table, let's talk about these extra costs. It doesn't matter if you're a day student or a boarder. If you're new, you're paying a one-time entry fee and a one-time book levy. And here they are, broken down for a new day student. You've got that entry fee at 5,500 kwacha and the book levy at 600. These get tacked right on top of everything else. So what's the total for that first year? It comes out to 19,802 kwacha. We're talking just a little bit under that 20,000 kwacha mark. Now, for the new boarders, it's the same story with those one-time fees. You've got the entry and the book levy. But there's also another little one-time charge here, a medical fees registration of 300 kwacha. So, the all-in first-year cost for a new boarding student is 28,636 kwacha. No matter how you slice it, that is a pretty significant investment for a family to make. Okay, that was a lot of numbers, I know. So let's make this easier. We're going to put them side by side so you can really see the difference between being a day student and a boarder. For returning students, the difference is just wow. It's about 8,800 kwacha more per year to be a boarder. That's a huge gap, and it's almost all coming from that much higher tuition and the medical costs you need when you're living at the school. And what about for new students? It's pretty much the same story. The gap is still right around that 8,800 kwacha mark. So it seems like that extra cost for boarding is a consistent thing. It's not really affected by those one-time entry fees. Okay, so we've compared day versus boarding. Now let's zoom out for a second. What's the absolute highest cost you could pay, and what's the absolute lowest? This will give us the full picture for 2025. So you might be asking, what's the full range here, from cheapest to most expensive? Answering that really helps you understand what you're getting into, financially speaking. Well, the top end, the most expensive option, is that number we just saw, 28,636 kwacha. That's for a brand new student, first year in the boarding program at the main school. But what about the other end of the scale? Well, the letter also mentions something called the tuition center. Now, we don't have all the details on what that is exactly, but the lowest fee on the entire sheet is for a day student there, 7,382 kwacha. I mean, that's a fraction of the cost for a boarder at the main school. And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? The school mentioned economic challenges. So the big question is, in an economy like that, what does a fee range from over 7,000 to almost 29,000 kwacha really mean? How does that shape the whole conversation about who gets access to this kind of private education? It's really something to think about.